Guys, I'm so excited about the fragrance I'm going to talk to you about today. In fact, I've been waiting for it for 3 whole years. Almost exactly 3 years. I sampled a preview sample of this back in April, late April, early May, when I was visiting the brand's store in Paris. I'm talking about Wake Up World from the house of Parle Moi De Parfum. And the reason I'm waiting for this and I'm excited about this particular fragrance is because it took me back to a fragrance I wore back in the early 1990s when I was in my early 20s. A fragrance I loved and cherished because that fragrance in its current formulation, the one I wore in the early 90s, doesn't smell anything like what I remember wearing in the early 90s, but this one does. This is Parle Moi De Parfum's Wake Up World. They're launching now, and I'm going to let you know all about Wake Up World, plus give you a preview of the collection of fragrances from Parle Moi De Parfum that I have all ranked. Where does this one fit in the list? Find out about it coming right up. Thanks so much for tuning in. This is Sebastian. Yes, today I'm talking about Parle Moi De Parfum's Wake Up World. Are you familiar with the house of Parle Moi De Parfum? Do you know about Wake Up World? Have you sampled it yet? The reason I'm excited about this particular fragrance is because it takes me back to that fragrance I wore that I loved. The fragrance I wore and loved was Minotaur from the house of Paloma Picasso. This fragrance I bought last year because I've been waiting for this one. I wanted to revisit it. Doesn't smell anything like what I wore. In fact, it's been watered down and made to smell like basically some citruses or some woods with sweets and amber. That's basically what it is. Very diluted. It doesn't smell anything like it. But when I sampled this in the sample form back in 2019, I got so excited about it because it reminded me of the fragrance I wore. In fact, Minotaur, along with Laura Biagiotti's Roma Uomo and Nicole Miller for Men, I wore all 3 of those fragrances. They all reminded me of one another, and every single one of them has gotten a major dilution. Very, very light and very, very diluted experience. If you can get vintages of those, definitely do. But this particular fragrance, Wake Up World, is going to satisfy completely. So this is Wake Up World from the house of Parle Moi De Parfum. It's a 2022 launch. It's Eau de Parfum concentration. Michel Almairac is the perfumer, and I would call this an amber fougere fragrance. It's interesting, Michel Almairac also created the original Minotaur back in the early 90s. It's a 1992 release, and I think he knows how to create something that smells like what the fragrance used to smell like, because this has been around for many years, like 92, so what, 30 years? So it's gone through major reformulations, but here it is, the version I remember. So it's selling at Lucky Scent. I have a link to Lucky Scent in the info box. You can go check it out there. Check out the entire brand, check out Wake Up World, check into samples because they sell samples there as well. But Parle Moi De Parfum's Wake Up World features notes of bergamot and dihydromyrcenol. Very, very complicated note for top notes. Heart notes features green apple and Damascena rose. Base notes features vanilla, Tonka beans, benzoin, and Ambroxan. So what is dihydromyrcenol? Very, very tough to say that. I hope I'm saying it correctly. I had to look it up to find out what it is because there's not a lot of notes mentioned in this particular fragrance, and I wanted to find out what this note is and what it does to this particular fragrance. Dihydromyrcenol is a fresh floral lavender aroma with a citrus lemon lime connotation. This is information I found online, and apparently it's used in fragrances and soaps, and with this particular fragrance, it's giving us a kind of a fougere-like experience because the lavender comes in with the dihydromyrcenol, and then of course you got the Tonka beans in the base, so you are actually experiencing a somewhat like a barbershop fougere-like experience. In this case, an amber fougere experience is what the style is for this particular fragrance. So the fragrance starts off with that blast of citruses up top, and you're getting the citruses from the bergamot and also the dihydromyrcenol. But you also have that lavender there. You have a little bit of the lavender. It's not very prominent. It's not a lot of lavender, but you'll experience it up the top notes. And then you're experiencing green apples and rose as well. There's definitely fruitiness here. And there was definitely fruitiness in the Minotaur as well, but here we're getting the fruitiness from the green apple. It's a little crisp, it's very fresh, and the Damascena rose also has this kind of like a light jamminess to the experience. So for me, the top notes and the heart notes, it's a very, very fresh experience. But to me also, this particular fragrance is a contrast of freshness from the top notes and the heart notes to lots of warmth in the base notes. So basically, it's balanced perfectly, and you've got the best of fresh and warm at the same time. Because the vanilla, the benzoin, and the ambroxan creates for an ambery experience in the base. Then you also add in the tonka beans, a little nutty, a little bitter, a little tobacco-ish touches as well here. And you've got this wonderful, wonderful fragrance that reminds me of Minotaur. As I was saying, when I first smelled a sample of this in 2019 at the Parle Moi De Parfum boutique, in fact, if you haven't watched that tour video of the Parle Moi De Parfum boutique, please go catch it. You get to visit with Benjamin and I, and we walk through the fragrances of the brand. So as soon as I smelled this over there, I thought to myself, Minotaur, it's got that fruitiness, it's got that vanillic touches, it's got that freshness, and then also that warmth all together. That's why I've been dying to get this particular release, and I ended up buying this last year. But man, the fragrance is just completely butchered up. It's been around so long. I think it's under L'Oreal, and they have not kept it in good condition. Those of you that are into fragrances of yesteryear, ones that you grew up smelling, this is going to take you back and remind you of the fragrance you once wore. Because this definitely doesn't. This doesn't smell anything like it, and it doesn't remind me of what I wore. But this one definitely really does a great job with it. So it's got this warmth to it. Amber, lots of amberiness, but this is interesting because this particular fragrance not only has lots of warmth, but it also has lots of freshness, because as I said, the top and the heart is all very, very fresh, and then balanced out with lots of warmth in the base. So to me, I feel like this particular fragrance doesn't necessarily mean it's a fragrance to wear winter, because it doesn't smell like a winter fragrance to me. I feel like this can be totally an all year round fragrance because it's warm at the same time being fresh. So you've got the freshness and the warmth fighting together to win out, and it becomes a nice balanced fragrance. So I think this is a perfect launch now in April for spring. It's a great spring fragrance because you've got the freshness. You'll need it for the springtime. You know, it's getting warm out there, but still cool enough. You have that warmth to experience that warm touches with this particular fragrance. In fact, this does remind me of spring also, because I remember wearing it the year I wore it the first time and loving it. It's just such a nostalgic fragrance that brings back memories of when I had first started going to film school and art school, and I was wearing this particular fragrance and really, really enjoying it. So I think it's a great fragrance for spring. I think it's perfect for nostalgic reasons. If you remember fragrances that you wore back then, it'll bring back memories, and I love that about this particular fragrance. And I think the perfumer Michel Almairac has done a great job. Now, I'm not saying it's identical to what I remember smelling, but totally reminds me of what I wore. Totally does. This one doesn't, though. This one doesn't. It's been really gone through the water, like just diluted down to almost nothing. Just like sweet water is basically what you're getting with that one. But this one totally does do it justice, and I think it's a great smelling fragrance, and I really love it, and totally takes me back, as I said. So that's Wake Up World. let me know your thoughts on this particular fragrance, Wake Up World. Does it sound great to you? Did you ever wear the 3 fragrances I discussed? Most importantly, the Minotaur, which totally it reminds me of, but Laura Biagiotti's Uomo, and also Nicole Miller's For Men also were kind of in that same ballpark. I'd like to find out if you wore those fragrances, and what do you think about the launch of this particular, now that you've let me know that you've wore those fragrances. So let's go ahead and move on to the rank list, and I'll let you know where this one fits on the list of the fragrances I currently have from this house. So at number 7, we're starting off with Woody Perfecto. Woody Perfecto is a woody vetiver experience with leather. So it's a leathery, earthy, aromatic woody fragrance, and it features notes of coffee, vetiver, and leather. So this is kind of a reminder of something like Dior's Vetiver, the very sought after fragrance that is very hard to get. If you're looking for something like that, you can definitely experience it here. And the reason I say that is because this is featuring coffee and vetiver at the same time. This does have the presence of leather as well, but for me, when you remove the leather, that coffee vetiver combination does remind me of Dior's Vetiver, which I'm a big fan of. But I do enjoy this for its aromatic woody touches, and of course that earthiness of the vetiver contrasted with the leather, and that light hint of the coffee that comes in to add a nice contrast and a kind of a different direction with the fragrance. So woody perfecto at number 7. At number 6, it's Papyrus Oud. Now this is a fragrance I have a full review of on the channel, and if you're a fan of something like Gucci Rush and you're looking for that alternative, you're going to be happy with this particular fragrance, because I think it definitely reminds me of Gucci Rush. It's not identical, but it reminds me of it. But this is a woody, spicy, aromatic amber fragrance with papyrus, incense, patchouli, oud, musk, chocolate, ginger. Yes, it's got some spicy zing to it from that ginger, very, very aromatic. The chocolate adds a light gourmandish touch, but it's not overwhelming here. This is not a gourmand fragrance. In the end, this is a very dark, woody, smoky, ambery, resinous experience, of course with the addition of oud as well. Very, very dark fragrance experience. If you're a fan of Gucci Rush, as I said, this is going to satisfy. Both of the fragrances were created by Michel Almairac, of course. Moving on to Chypre MOJO at number 5. Chypre MOJO, for me, is definitely got the Chypre-like qualities. It's really there as soon as you smell it, and if you are familiar with Chypre fragrances, you're going to recognize that this is a Chypre fragrance. But this one goes into lightly tropical fruity direction with the addition of mango as a note. But this one has the patchouli and the bergamot, and typically found in Chypre fragrances, along with labdanum. And I'm assuming there's something in here that is labdanum-like to create the kind of an ambery experience. But this is an earthy, woody, fruity Chypre fragrance with mango, patchouli, bergamot, and carnation. And the carnation adds a little bit of a spice to it, kind of like a clove-like spice. Anyway, Chypre MOJO at number 5. Great Chypre. There's definitely a little foaminess in there as well. I get like a mousse, like a foaminess from oak moss present in the Chypre mousse as well. Moving on to Guimauve de Noël at number 4. This is definitely that sweet vanillic, caramelly, sugary, marshmallowy concoction that reminds me of Love Don't Be Shy, that fragrance that's been reformulated as of late. This is a sweet floral vanillic amber fragrance with orange blossom, sugar, and vanilla, and I like this combination of the orange blossom and the sweet sugar and vanillic touches. You get the definitely, you know, caramelly, caramelized vanillic ambery experience, but lots of, you know, citrus floral touches from the orange blossom. So Guimauve de Noël is at number 4. It's really great. It's kind of Christmassy. I think that theme is a kind of a Christmassy theme, but in the Middle East we had desserts with orange blossom. So you've got these kind of like sugary vanillic desserts with the addition of orange blossom. So you're eating the orange blossom syrup with you know, sweet kind of desserts and pastries and things like that. So that fragrance smells delicious. Moving on, at number 3, there's the top 3, and where does Wake Up World land? It's not at number 3. So Milky Musk is at number 3, and Milky Musk is one of the coziest woody fragrances. Definitely appropriately named Milky Musk, because this is a very, very milky lactonic experience without the addition of milk or any lactonic notes, except for the fact that sandalwood can get milky lactonic, like a very creamy milky experience, and so this is perfectly named a Milky Musk. It's a woody, powdery, warm, musky fragrance with sandalwood and musk. Those are the only notes that are credited, but it does get a little ambery in the base, and it's so cozy and comforting. Very, very relaxing and soothing. That creamy, kind of milky sandalwood here with the musk is absolutely delicious. There's sweetness here, but really a beautiful, beautiful fragrance. Very, very cozy to wear and enjoy, like at home by yourself, just being relaxed and taking time for yourself kind of a fragrance. So Milky Musk at number 3. It's really, really delicious fragrance. We've got 2 more left. Where does Wake Up World land? Number 2 is Wake Up World. You know, I was going to put it at number 1, but I really like number 1 a lot more. And the fact that this is kind of a, I wouldn't say it's, I wanted to put it here because it's more like a fragrance that I know about rather than being a totally original smell, if that makes sense. But I'm glad this is out. I'm glad it reminds me of Minotaur, because that's exactly what I was looking for. Minotaur doesn't remind me of Minotaur, but Wake Up World does. And it's created by the same perfumer, as I was saying. But Wake Up World is a warm, balsamic amber fougere fragrance with vanilla, benzoin, Ambroxan, green apple, damask rose, and of course that really, really long complicated note of dihydromyrcenol. So tough to say that one. But this is an amber fougere with lots of warm balsamic touches, ambery touches. But again, as I was saying, it's got those fresh notes up top in the heart, warm notes in the base. So you've got the contrasts of fresh and warm together, you know, fighting to get ahead. But it creates this very, very interesting fragrance experience where you've got all this warmth, but it's fresh to wear, if that makes sense. I really love it. I really love it. I'm glad it's out. Now I can wear a fragrance and think back, oh man, memories of my early 20s. Anyway, Wake Up World is at number 2. And my number 1 favorite fragrance from this house still happens to be Mile High. Absolutely love the way this smells. This is like, if you're looking for a Aventus alternative, I'm not saying it smells like an Aventus. I'm only bringing it up because it's got pineapple as a note, but nothing else is in there that will remind you of Aventus. This is a very unique smell. I like the sweet tartness of the pineapple in here. Ripe and sweet pineapple, but still has some tartness in there. But it's also got some patchouli. Definitely has Immortelle and Tonka beans, so I would call this a sweet, fruity, warm, spicy fragrance. And you know, the combination is great because the Immortelle is the everlasting flower. It's dry, it's autumn-like, creates these kind of brown, sugary, caramelly nuances, contrasted with the pineapple. So delicious, guys. Mile High is at number 1, and I absolutely love, love, love wearing Mile High. It's a close tie, though. This is Wake Up World and Mile High. So I wonder why they did a black bottle here in comparison to all the clear bottles of the other fragrances. I don't know, but I'm excited for you guys to find out and check out Wake Up World. There's a link to Lucky Scent in the info box. Go check out the fragrances of Parle Moi De Parfum on the Lucky Scent website. You can buy samples there and of course bottles. And if you guys end up with samples or bottles of Wake Up World, please report back and let me know, especially if you wore Minotaur. This is such a... I absolutely love Paloma Picasso fragrances. My mom was wearing the original Paloma Picasso for women, and I was wearing this one. I think she only had one male fragrance. So I don't know, but there was a lot of people I knew were wearing the Paloma Picasso fragrances, women and men. So I'm just very nostalgic about that particular brand. So it's exciting for this particular fragrance to come out. And as I was saying, been waiting for 3 years, and it definitely doesn't disappoint. So I hope you guys go and check out the Wake Up World from the house of Parle Moi De Parfum, and also check out the other fragrances. And I would like to explore more fragrances from this house. I know there are a few other fragrances that I'm very, very curious about. We'll see what I explore and check out soon. But let me know what your thoughts are on these fragrances. Let me know what your thoughts are on Wake Up World. Have you tried it yet? Are you curious to try it after watching this video? Put a comment down so I can find out, and let me know what your favorite Parle Moi De Parfum fragrance is. I'd like to find out. Either way, guys, thanks so much for watching today's video. If you have any questions or comments, please list below. Please like this video, please share it, follow me on Instagram and Facebook, and I'll be back with more videos very soon. Have a good one. Goodbye. So I have one bonus fragrance for you guys. It's Haute Provence right here. I didn't add this to the list because it's very aquatic marine, and it's not my favorite style of fragrance. It's pleasant, but it definitely has this overabundance of marine notes, and pretty much created from the addition of watermelon and melons in the notes. So I would call Haute Provence an aromatic, aquatic, ozonic, fruity fragrance with lavender, melons, watermelon, and narcissus. So France is known for lavender, obviously, and the lavender grows in the south of France, which is close to the sea. So this is a great inspiration for a fragrance. I think the inspiration is great. Just is very, very overwhelmingly marine for me. But you might like the combination of marine notes acquired from the usage of melons and watermelon, contrasted with this kind of aromatic and herbal lavender note. There is that narcissus note in here as well, the little yellow flower, beautiful kind of the spring flower thrown in here. It has some light animalic and smoky touches, which is present here, but it's not as prominent as the watermelon and the melon note in this one, which can become overwhelming if you're not into marine fragrances. Either way, it's a great fruity fragrance. It's just not my style, so that's why I'm offering it as a bonus fragrance, Haute Provence, and that's the last fragrance. Thanks so much for watching today's video. I hope you guys go ahead and get to try Wake Up World very, very soon.